Hi everyone.
Today we're gonna talk about Gabriel García Márquez.
Gabriel José de la Concordia García Márquez was a Colombian novelist, short story writer, screenwriter, and journalist, known affectionately as Gao or Gabito, throughout Latin America. Considered one of the most significant authors of the 20th century, particularly in the Spanish language. He was awarded the 1972 Newsstand International Honor Prize in Literature. He pursued a self-directed education that resulted in leaving law school for a career in journalism. From early on, he showed ambitions in the criticism of Colombian and foreign politics. In 1915, he married Mercedes Barcha Pardo. They had two sons, Rodrigo and Gonzalo. Gabriel García Márquez was born on 6 March 1927 in the small town of Aracataca in the Caribbean region of Colombia, to Gabriel Eligio García and Luisa Santiago Márquez in Guarán. So after García Márquez was born, his father became a pharmacist and moved with his wife to the nearby large port city of Barranquilla. Leaving young Gabriel in Aracataca, he was raised by his maternal grandparent, Doña Tranquilina Iguarán, and Colonel Nicolás Ricardo Márquez Mejía. In December 1936, his father told him and his brother to Cince, while in March 1937 his grandfather died. The family then moved first to Barranquilla and to Sucre, where his father started a farm.
After arriving at Sucre, it was decided that García Márquez should start his formal education, and he was sent to an internship in Barranquilla, a port on the mouth of the Rio Magdalena. There he gained a reputation of being a timid boy who wrote humorous poems and drew humorous comic strips. Serious and little interested in athletic activities, he was called El Viejo by his classmates. After his graduation in 1947, García Márquez stayed in Bogotá to study law at the Universidad Nacional de Colombia, but spent most of his spare time reading fiction. He was inspired by La Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka, at the time incorrectly thought to have been translated by Jorge Luis Borges. His first published work, La Tercera Resignación, appeared in the 13 September 1947 edition of the newspaper El Espectador. From 1947 to 1955, he wrote a series of short stories that were later published under the title of Eyes of a Blue Dog. Though his passion was writing, he continued with law in 1948 to place his father. After the Bogotá riots on 9 April following the assassination of popular leader Jorge Eliezer Gaitán, the university closed indefinitely and his boarding house was burned. García Márquez transferred to the University of Cartagena and began working as a reporter of El Universal. In 1950, he ended his legal studies to focus on journalism and moved again to Barranquilla to work as a columnist and reporter in the newspaper El Heraldo. Universities including Columbia University in the city of New York have given him an honorary doctorate in writing. García Márquez began his career as a journalist while studying law at the National University of Colombia. In 1948 and 1949, he wrote for El Universal in Cartagena. From 1950 until 1952, he wrote a whimsical column under the name of Séptimos for the local paper El Heraldo in Barranquilla. Garcia Marquez note of his time at El Heraldo. I'd write a piece and they'd pay me 3 pesos for it, and maybe an editorial for another 3. During this time, he became an active member of the informal group of writers and journalists known as the Barranquilla Group, an association that provided great motivation and inspiration for his literary career. He worked with inspirational figures such as Ramon Vinis, whom Garcia Marquez depicted as an old Catalan who owns a bookstore in 100 years of solitude. At this time, Garcia Marquez was also introduced to the works of writers such as Virginia Woolf and William Faulkner. Faulkner's narrative techniques, historical themes, and use of rural locations influenced many Latin American authors. From 1954 to 1955, Garcia Marquez spent time in Bogotá and regularly wrote for Bogotá's El Espectador. From 1956, he spent 2 years in Europe, returning to marry Mercedes Barcha in Colombia, and to work on magazines in Caracas, Venezuela.
Gabriel Marquez died of pneumonia at the age of 87 on 17 April 2040 in Mexico City. His death was confirmed by Fernanda Familiar on Twitter and by his former editor Cristobal Pera. The Colombian president Juan Manuel Santos mentioned 100 years of solicitude and sadness for the death of the greatest Colombian of all time. The former Colombian president Álvaro Uribe Vélez said Master Garcia Marquez. Thanks for ever millions of people in the planet fell in love with our naked home, fascinated with your lines. At the time of his death, Garcia Marquez had a wife and 2 sons.
Thanks for watching.
Sandra, te amamos.
Ponnos 5.